What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscribe or die trying. You see the thumbnail. More importantly, you see the clip. I'm trying to get the volume on this thing, but whatever. So, as you see in the title, man, accountability is America's kryptonite. And a lot of times we try to overlook, you know, the, the true nature of America. I will say that in the sense of it's everybody else's fault. And I've seen it with these conversations, whether it be, politics, race, blah, blah, blah. And as a black man, it's like, here we go. At the end of the day, people blaming us for everything. So I'm going to break this down piece by piece in whatever time I'm on here, right? And if you hear stuff outside, yeah, they cutting the grass. But ultimately is this. White America's problems in America are all self-inflicted. I know like people try to spin this and put it on the black community and rap music and this, that, and the third, but it's like, no, that's self-inflicted, man. The crime in America, that's self-inflicted. You get what I'm saying? So it's not our fault because the United States government wanted to get into the drug business. And the black community, you give or take, if you say Native American community, are the last two people on the totem pole that's really in organized crime in America. So the criminality part is just BS. If you didn't want crime, you shouldn't have introduced crime as we know it in this modern time to America. The economic problems that America is facing, that's self-inflicted. America didn't want to pay their workers. America wanted to get cheap labor overseas. That's what America wanted to do, right? America wanted to underpay people and overwork people. That's white people. So how is that the black community's fault? How? But somehow we're going to bring up, they rap and in the single mother households. That ain't got nothing to do with us at all. People talk about immigration, the migrants. It's like, okay, yep, immigration is a problem, but you paying these people. See, you undercut the people that's in this country to pay people who are quote unquote migrants in other countries, but from other countries rather. And on top of that, you destabilize their countries. You think America didn't do things to mess up Mexico, in Central America, some of South America? You think that didn't happen? It's funny how they can meddle all in Central and South America, but somehow don't meddle in Canada. See how that works? So, the immigration of people in other countries, in the Caribbean, you meddle with they countries, so they here. In China, you meddled in their country, they're here. You meddled in Japan, they're here. You meddled in the Middle East, now they're here. It's like, what is it? What are you talking about? So all of these problems that are befalling America, that's self-inflicted. It's not nobody else's fault. It's not. When we say, okay, we have an education issue in America, people aren't as smart as they used to be. Self-inflicted. Y'all wanted to have all of these little enclaves where you suck all the resources out of these schools because white people ain't there, and you put them all in the other school where white kids are, and all of a sudden now you don't have the best and brightest minds in the world. That's your fault. If you did all of this to put all of this education in the hands of all of these supposed young great white kids, and they not young great and white no more, that's your problem. That's not hip hop's problem. That's not, oh, the blacks are messing with the white girls problem. No, that's not affirmative actions problem. That's your fault. That's self-inflicted. Because what happens is, and the reason I'm talking about this is because every now and then I'll make a video about something and somebody, you know, writes out these blanket talking points that you hear over and over and over again, that y'all just say this stuff, but y'all don't actually have the history of the stuff in this context. And it's like, man, you wasting my time. This is your problem. It's not my problem. So when people looked at the election, not the election, but the debate this week, and it was like, this is trash. Yeah, it was Dumb and Dumber, and dumb one because Biden was dumber, and this is what you represent. This is the representation to the world of the best and brightest when it comes to politics in America. Guess whose fault that is? It's white folks' fault. White America's fault. Nobody else. Nobody else. It's not the black community. It's not hip hop. No, stop it. Because and don't get it twisted. I'm gonna get on these other groups too, because what winds up happening is they take these talking points and run with them too. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's your fault. No. How is everything that's going wrong in your life, in your community, my fault or my community's fault? How, Sway? Usually it's self-inflicted, because the things that we do as black folks in America that's self-inflicted, you got no problem pointing that out, right? But all of a sudden when it's you, oh, your brain don't work. So let's take another step further. The government, or lack thereof, or the economy of America in that sense, using the government. Why are we so far in trillions of dollars of debt? That's white people's fault. That's what y'all wanted to do. The reason why this country is 35 trillion dollars in debt is because y'all hard-headed. Y'all wanted to go to a war with the wrong country and stay in war with the wrong country. Y'all wanted to go to a whole nother country and go to war with them. And here's the kicker. It's funny how this quote unquote first world country will go to war with third world countries and go in debt to fight a third world country when you got the biggest and baddest military in the world. And yet the people from this country want to live abroad because it's cheaper in these quote unquote third world countries. So what you're telling me is you spent trillions of dollars to blow up a third world country, and you could have did it on discount. You just had to blow up, bring all those tanks and use all that gas and shoot all those missiles and shoot all those bullets at a third world country. So you call it a war who's soldier on soldier lasts 30 days, but you there 15 years. That's not the black community's fault. Sorry. When the government decides to bail out the banking industry for being horrible at their doggone job, of quote unquote banking, that is not black America's fault. That's not our culture, and the fathers are not being in the homes. You telling me these smart, educated people who are fathers in the homes and who make six figures and millions of dollars a year couldn't count, even though they're supposed to be accountants, and they needed to be bailed out? And you bailed them out because, oh, we can't let them fail. And then the car industry, I bailed them out. We can't let them fail. And they still failing. Banks are still about to go under now. Car dealerships that can't sell cars now. So did the bailout even work? No. So is that the black community's fault? No. No. Too many folks out here want to blame us for any and everything that goes wrong in their lives, and they don't want to live in reality. America doesn't like accountability. Period. For all the people who, are all still trying to fight for Joe Biden, I'll say this. The presidential elections the last 20 years, I've seen some idiotic stuff happen, and people bounce back. Because usually, somebody does something stupid, and if they don't write them off right then and there, if they do something good around August, September, October, all of a sudden it's all washed away. Stupid to me, but that's how it is. But the problem with that is this. Is Joe Biden going to fix the economy? No. Is Donald Trump going to fix the economy? No. So all the problems in America that people are going to be complaining about in the next 10, 15 years, 20 years, they're not going to go anywhere. All you're going to have is, well, the guy that I like is in office. Well, the guy that you like is in office and he's doing a terrible job. And we should put the guy that I like in office. Now the guy that I like is in office and he's doing a terrible job. But I guess you want the guy that you like again. Well, okay. Since we passing the buck from person to person, that means everybody's stupid. How is that Black America's fault? You need to save the democracy. No. What America needs saved is common sense. That's what America needs saved. Common sense. So somehow we're gonna blame the Black community for that. Now I'm gonna pivot for a second. And when it comes to the non-Black, non-white communities or non-Black American with ADOS, FBA, whatever, right? When it comes to the Hispanic community, whatever y'all issue with us is, it don't make sense to us. If you Cuban, your beef should be with the American government and the mafia, because that's who went to Cuba to start all this shenanigans, because they tried to make Cuba like Vegas, and Cubans fought back and beat the mob and the United States, and they have been bombing them ever since. But if you get to America and somehow it's Black people's fault, I don't know what to tell you. I don't. You want to assimilate and be a white, be viewed as white and Cuban, and then just overlook everything America did to your country? That's your problem. That's your business. That ain't got nothing to do with us. Next, if you're, say, Hispanic, like if you're Mexican, it wasn't Black America, funding the cartels, letting the cartels run roughshod in Mexico, and so they can bring their drugs in America. And that ain't just Mexico. It's Mexico, Colombia, Peru, Panama. It was just crazy. Like all in Central America. America was just like, hey man, we come on over here. Come bring that dope. But somehow you get hit and it's our fault. It's like, wait, how is this our fault? You Blacks ain't doing enough. Doing enough what? Like we didn't, bro. Some of you some of the Hispanic community, basically y'all just following the Black business model in the 70s and 80s right now. and the government isn't sabotaging you here like they're sabotaging you in your own country. But they will. Just give them some time. They will. But all I'm saying is, it's not going to be our fault. That is not going to be our fault. It's America. That's a white America issue that white America does to your country and your countrymen. And you come to this country and then all of a sudden get blind and say, you know, the problem is the blacks. No, it's not. No, it's not. The Asian community is the same issue. Was it us that wanted to go to Vietnam? No. That created that war? No. Did we fight in it? Yeah. Or the Korean War? Was it really us? No, it was white America. Wanted the Korean War, the Vietnam War, Japan. Well, Japan attacked the U.S., so y'all wanted to smoke, y'all got to smoke, whatever. But at the end of the day, you know, was it us as Black Americans decide we want cheaper labor and funding sweatshops in China to make these cheap products that all these people in America now all of a sudden say China's trash, but China wasn't trash when you was buying that stuff for cheap 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It wasn't trash then, though. Is it our fault? You know, is it our fault when people use affirmative action? You know, we need to take down affirmative action because of the blacks. And now you took down affirmative action, and now all of you finding out that, oh, these white people don't like us. So is that our fault again? Is it the Black community's fault again? Is it our rap music and we all want to be athletes and entertainers and what is the other thing? Athletes, entertainers, single mothers and crime. Is that our fault? I'm good, fam. My bad. So it's like accountability is not on for your issues with America is really not us. The best, I would say the Asian community got is we got into it at some of your corner stores or restaurants over something petty. Has that happened? Yeah, that's happened. But you got into it with everybody. It ain't just a black thing. That's the thing. White people come in your stores and act a fool. You don't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Hispanics come, 50-50. But if somebody black coming in your establishment and act a fool, you remember that for the rest of your life. It's the blacks. Nah, not really. Not really, because then when we start frequenting your businesses and you see all these people who are not black coming in and acting a complete fool, y'all never say nothing. So it's like, okay, what are we doing here? Is it really our fault? And that's why I'm saying America, white America's problems really is self-inflicted. Self-inflicted. So even when you go to the black community that's not quote unquote FB or ADOS, if they got problems with us when they get here. Because we don't have problems with everybody like that. But it's not Black America, like it wasn't Black America that messed up Haiti, put sanctions on Haiti, and at the same time let the Dominican Republic rock. That's not us. It's white folks, whether it be here or in Europe, right? Sanctioning, keeping Jamaica the way it is, keeping Barbados and Bahamas and, Trinidad, Tobago, all the way, shoot, I don't know, all the way from, you can say Cuba to St. Kitts. It's just white folks, messing up stuff, whether they be in the US or in the UK. It's not us. So when people come here and be like, man, y'all not doing this and y'all not doing that, it's like, hey, bro, even like with Haiti, right? It wasn't black folks. It was suspected that the government got the president killed in Haiti. Got him shot up. That ain't us. So when we have this issue where, hey man, like you don't like me for whatever reason, but when you see this other community pushing the button to throw your country under the bus, you don't say nothing. Same thing, Africa, same thing. Was it us that because I like to say country, yeah, and mess up your country, and people who are African say it's a continent. I know it's a continent. Most of us Black Americans know it's a continent, but we just say country because it's an American thing. Because we're not necessarily talking about the whole continent. We're talking about specific parts, right? Because if we're going to talk about the whole continent, I could just say the whole continent. But because if I say the whole continent right now, I'm like, okay, what part of the continent did Black Americans ruin in Africa? What did we ruin in Nigeria? What did we ruin in South Africa? What did we ruin in Sudan? What did we ruin in Chad? What did we ruin in Egypt? What did we ruin in Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda? You know what I'm saying? Niger, Ghana. Like, what did we ruin over there? Senegal. Where did our Blackness ruin y'all over there? The way like, what did we do? Seriously. Because we wasn't selling you guns. We wasn't selling you drugs. We wasn't pillaging the land. We wasn't stealing from you. We wasn't doing we didn't take none of the resources. We didn't do none of that. So all of a sudden, what's the real issue? What's the real issue? What's up, X? I see you, Ed, my bad. So it becomes an issue like, yo, all of these issues with us are really self-inflicted issues. And I'm not talking as like I'm begging for unity and all that. No, I'm just saying it. A lot of the tension that comes between Black American and other groups. The reason why we look at people sideways is because we ain't the ones who effing with y'all like that. And when I say effing with y'all, we're not trying to ruin your country at all. We're not trying to put a stigma on you when you get to America at all. So it's like, hey, this needs to be accepted into the umbrella of whiteness, whether you're in it or on the outskirts of it. That ain't got nothing to do with us. And if y'all all think, hey man, one of the key ways to be under the American umbrella is to disrespect those Black folks, and we like, okay, all right, we're gonna see how well this go for you. Because now, the country is having an issue. And when the money, quote unquote, runs out, and the reason I'm about to say what I'm about to say is for a very specific reason. Because you see white America getting antsy and nervous and anxious and ready to lose their mind because the money has run out of white America. But the brainwashing of white greatness is stayed. So the question is, when you other groups, when y'all start running out of money, is the brainwashing gonna stay with y'all too? And for us, for a person like me, I gotta assume it will. I can't assume that, dang, America's crumbling because these white folks messed it up. But you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna blame the Blacks. And here's the crazy part. When it comes to being a Black in America, we're really in certain spots. New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, Cleveland, Memphis, the Carolinas, Atlanta, a little bit of Savannah, but the rest of Georgia, no, Miami, Tampa, Orlando. Like, we're really in major cities for the most part. Major cities. So when you get people from Tucson, Arizona talking about the Black folks, it's like, bro, what are you talking about? What is your issue? I'm from Waco, Texas, and the Blacks. I'm not trying to hear that. You need to get off the dope. I'm from Albuquerque, and the Blacks. No. I'm from Providence, Rhode Island, and the Blacks. No. Nope, nope, nope. I'm from Albany, New York, and the problem is these blacks. Nope, 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 nope. You know, you're not from, I'm from Champaign, Urbana, Illinois, but it's the blacks. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Nope, we're not doing this. You know, we in Mississippi, but it's the blacks. Like, bro, cut it out. Cut it out. We're not your problem in even in the major cities where we reside. For all you other groups, we're really not your problem. Since y'all like to talk about black on black crime, that means the majority of the time we're criminal, we active with each other. You're not catching no issues really with us. Because if just like y'all do it 80+% to each other, and we do it 80+% to each other, you're not having a problem here. But I'm gonna tell you where the problem really lies. The discrimination, racism, whatever you want to call it in America, y'all expected to disrespect us and for your whole lives and your kids' whole lives, and we'll still frequent your businesses. That's where a lot of this has come from. A lot of y'all think black people haven't bought, y'all don't we don't boycott enough businesses. And here's another issue that y'all have with us. When it comes to us, y'all ain't got common sense. If we are frequenting all of these businesses, how come all of these businesses are running out of money? How come all of these businesses are on the verge of shutting down? If it's us, seriously, if it's us, you want to explain that to us? Because y'all got tired of the Negroes and Red Lobster eating the cheddar biscuits, so we brought in Red Lobster eating the cheddar biscuits, right? So what's the problem now? You can't, you don't know? Yep. You be tired of the Negroes buying Buicks. Well, we wasn't buying Buicks no more. We're not buying Cadillacs like that no more. What happened? Y'all want to explain that? Oh, they always buying these, this, that, and the third. Okay, we're not doing it no more. Now everybody else could go do it. What's the issue now? See, y'all don't even think about it. And when people were talking about, even back in the day, not back in the day, but when people were saying defund the police, we don't have to defund the police. We just don't, even though we get blamed for a lot of criminal activity, we don't commit crime at a high clip like that. So, that overtime work is going to have to slow down. It's going to have to slow down. Police in the black community gonna have to slow down, because I live in the suburbs, and I can tell you, the police don't be active like that out here. And they know it's a lot of stuff going on out here. And that's really the biggest difference that I know between the suburbs and the hood. In the hood, the cops will bust you. They will roll up on you. They will kick your door down. They will bust you. In the suburbs, you got to be doing so much that you hit the news first for them to bust you. You do whatever you want for the most part. They don't care. So that idea trickles down to people. I think, oh, the blacks committing the most crime. Like, no. We get caught for crime the most. We don't commit the most crime because, I've said this story before. I used to go to the mall. So I used to go to the mall, and the guy who worked in one of the stores recognized me because I was frequent. Because I would go to the mall a lot, or I go through this particular store when I go to the mall, and when I park. And one day I bought something. I was walking out, but they didn't hit the tag. They didn't get the tag off of it. And he said, man, I almost got you. He said, I got to make sure you ain't out here stealing. I just said, and I looked at, I was laughing. I was like, listen, if I really wanted to steal, what I would do is I would pay some white folks to come with me, and I had them steal while you watching me. And he was like, it dawned on him like it was a simple plan that could work 99% of the time. you know, and y'all don't think about it, but you remember if you watched All About the Benjamins, that's how the old white ladies were stealing because he knew that oh boy gonna watch me. He's not gonna watch you. He gonna watch me. So with that premise in mind, how do you think the economy got so bad? People been stealing left and right, stealing left and right, but nobody says anything because y'all too busy watching us. That was the whole issue with 9/11 when they said, "Hey man," because black people said it then. Like, let me get this right. You saw some people, some foreigners come in this country and go to flight school and didn't want to learn how to land a plane, and that was not suspicious to you. That was not suspicious whatsoever to you. And then they hijacked some planes and crashed them into the buildings in the Pentagon. And then when it came out, yeah, these guys was in flight school, but they never wanted to land. It's like never dawned on you that was an issue. Because what did we say? If they were black, y'all would have called the FBI the cops, just like Timothy McVeigh, just like the Oklahoma City bomber, when he bought all of those materials that could be used as an explosive device in the quantities he bought it, because he was white, it wasn't a red flag whatsoever. So guess what happened? Bam, domestic terrorism, right? Because what? Y'all too busy watching us, and we ain't doing none of that stuff. You want to go further? What is the guy? Was it Eric Snowden? A guy who basically, did he finish high school or didn't he finish high school? Whatever it was, but basically he was a janitor, you know, in DC at the Capitol, and worked his way up to be upper, in management or something, to the point to the point where he had enough access to all of America's, not, you could even say, top secret material, and he put it on a drive and flew his butt to Russia and gave it to them. That's part of the economic downturn of America. But you know why it was easy for him to do it? Because he was white. Ain't nobody watching him. Because I can guarantee you, there will be no story of a black janitor in the Capitol and the Rotunda who keeps getting bumped up and bumped up and bumped up and promoted to the point where he can have access to the United States of America's secrets. Oh, that's not going to happen. Was that a black issue? No, that's self-inflicted. Let me go back a little bit. Because he was he wasn't a college graduate. I know that. Y'all fools thought when it came to college that what y'all were gonna do was, you know, you had quote unquote the baby boomers going to college for free or next to nothing. And then, it's slowly trickling up the price of it. And for the most part, when it came to us black folks, y'all said we wasn't smart enough to go to school. So we were going on quote unquote academic scholarship, not academic, athletic scholarships. And what do you call that? Like athletic scholarships, grants, and the United Negro College Fund, stuff like that, right? Because we weren't smart enough for these schools. So the vast majority of the black kids that you knew, it was assumed that they went to school because they played sports on a scholarship. So they went for free or close to free. And all the white kids who's all their families, my kids are, a Staffordshire from Staffordshire, they had to pay. And then the rich kids had no problems, but the middle class kids, man, hey, wait a minute now. Wait a minute now. I can't, this is expensive. Your granddad went to school for free. Your parents went to school for maybe, a few $1,000s. Now you going for 40, 60, 80, 120, $200,000 for your 4-year degree. And then when they overcharged you, whose fault was it? It's the blacks. School is out of pocket, but affirmative action is the issue. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Right, really. Affirmative action is why they're charging you $25,000 a semester and you're an in-state student. That's what it is. Affirmative action. Okay. So now that affirmative action is gone, guess what stays? Your tuition costs. Did affirmative action stop your tuition from going up? No, it did not. That's self-inflicted. And now people say, hey, man, school isn't what it used to be. People want to go to trade schools. Unfortunately, the vast majority of white America don't like doing trades. That was predominantly a black thing, which, by the way, white people undercut that because that's where you get the quote unquote Mexicans at Home Depot. You didn't want to pay the black guy. You didn't want to pay the black electrician. You didn't want to pay the black roofer. You didn't want to pay the black plumber. You didn't want to pay the black, like here we go. The black mason. You didn't want to pay them. No, we're gonna get your boy at Home Depot. We're gonna, chuck him a few $100s. Okay, cool. You did that. And now what are you finding out in America? Some of those guys did a good job. Some of those guys didn't. And now you having these let's just say these white-owned companies, who are like home improvements. Now they trying to overcharge people. Oh, that'll be $30,000. You pay some Mexicans to do it 2 years ago and it ain't work for you. That'll be $30,000 now. But they're gonna have a Mexican crew. But because the dude that's supervising is white, he want to charge you 3 times what it's worth. And you're going to go, well, it's white people. It's like, okay, is that black people's fault? No, it is not. Thus, some of these insurance companies who want to go up on their rates, they starting to have a problem. They say, you keep going up on these rates if you want to, but these people can't pay for all this stuff. So what you going to do? What are you going to do? Blame the blacks? It's black people. Can't do that. It's self-inflicted. So now, you might have did 100 jobs a year at 10, 20,000 a pop. So now you're trying to do, 30 jobs a year at $30,000 a pop just to make up the difference. It's like, nope, not doing it. But whose fault is it? Same thing with credit in America and credit card debt going up. I hate to break the news to y'all, it ain't us black folks. They don't let us get credit like that. And I know people think, oh, yes, you do. No, they do not. We can, listen. There's a certain part when you're a black American that even if you got a good credit score, they're going to level you out. They're going to level you out. You can't, you're going to start right here. And I'm a person who's had credit cards, and I can tell you for a fact, every time I paid off my credit card, my limit went down. I had a $10,000 limit. I paid that mug up, $2,000 limit. What the hell? Okay, I paid it off. That mean I got no. You might as well just get a different credit card because now you don't. You paid off the $2,000. Yep, paid that up. $1,000 limit. So I was like, hey, bro, I pay it off and I get less, no problem. So when I see other people, normally other people who buying all this stuff on credit cards, like, hey, what kind of limit you got? Oh man, my limit is da. Like if our credit score is better than yours and my limit is lower than yours and I pay my stuff up, I don't know. They keep letting y'all, they letting y'all eat extra. Because I remember the times where the more people spent, the bigger their limit got. They don't want people who pay stuff off to have, to keep credit cards. They want people who owe money to have credit cards. And who you gonna give access to more money to when it comes to black or white people. That's why they had these crazy, Dave Ramsey, I got $45,000 in credit card debt. Like how? How did you get that far? They didn't cut you off I mean, at 15, they gave you more at 20, 25, 30, 35. Like he just kept giving you more. Wow. Okay. So whose fault is it now? Oh, it's the look at the blacks. Look, bro, we can't be we're not to blame for all of this stuff. The bad health in America. Is that our fault? Is it our fault that America is overweight? Is it our fault that they say, America puts all this pesticides and all this stuff in the food? Is that our fault? Is the American diet, the way that you see it today, is based in really fast food or fast food, ideology and cooking, or quote black food, which people used to call nigger food. I don't know why y'all think, it's American now. It's not macaroni and cheese is American. Not fried chicken is American. You know what I'm saying? Not potato salad is American. Like, okay, interesting. Not gumbo is American. Not ribs, and burnt ends is American. Fried fish is American now. But the reason I'm saying that is because, what's up, man? It's because what you have is you have a country and people in it so accustomed to blaming us for everything, they just overlook common sense. Like I was thinking about something yesterday, right? And I was thinking about how people get on social media and they talk about, how can I say this? They talk about DNA testing. These women out here, they're doing this, they're doing that, because I listen to the guys talk about, how when black people and white people talk, or black people and non-white people talk, they got to bring up Jewish people. And I'm like, bro, why do you always, I don't understand the Jewish deflection. It's the Jews are running the music industry, and that's the bad reputation, and it's teaching the blacks to be crazy. And it's like, just for the record, there's a lot of Jewish execs in music. But the people who own Universal, who owns all of those labels, is French. I don't think Lucien Grange is Jewish. I know he's French, though. And Vivendi had been owning Universal since over 25 years. But common sense goes out the window, right? The reason I got to say this, because I thought about it. I said, when it comes to DNA testing, and even this idea of, Jewish people ain't white, I was like, nobody ever asked this question that I'm about to ask. They call Frank Sinatra old blue eyes. Italians really don't have blue eyes. Nobody ever thought about that this whole time? How Italians have brown eyes. Blue eyes is like northwestern Europe. Brown eyes is like from the middle to the southern part. So what I'm saying is, some of y'all really don't know that your Italian family member he got a Swedish daddy. You get what I'm saying? Y'all don't know that. Not really. That predominantly is what? There are more people in blue eyes in the American population than in Italians' population. And that's per capita and number. I'm not saying all Italians don't have blue eyes. I'm saying most. Having an Italian with blue eyes is rare. Have you seen an Italian with blue eyes since Frank Sinatra in America? Think about it. Think about all the people you see who are Italian, who are even Greek, who are Mediterranean. They don't have blue eyes. They're not Swedish. They're not Nordic. That's the difference between Anglo, this, that, and the third. That's the difference. They're not. You don't really like Spaniards, Portugal, and think about it. Just look it up. It's rare. And even if you, I can guarantee you this: if you Google it, and you see Italians with blue eyes, they gonna look like they white from Norway. That's what's gonna happen. I'm saying that to say something else though, because people don't take stuff into consideration about who's really who in America, because white America don't really know their history like they say they do. That's where I'm going. Like, they don't put two and two together like they say they do, because everybody's from the same places, and nobody ever questions some things like, hey man, let me get this right. So your family's from Russia. Do like your family, you said, is from Ireland, but they're probably from Russia because they just changed their names. Because you don't see Russian last names here. You don't really see Polish last names here. Every now and then you see stuff. But the truth is, the truth is most of these people don't know where they're from. They can't trace their roots all the way back to the UK like they say they can. So what happens is when people are in America, they fall in under this American mythology of, whiteness. And then they lose part of their culture. So some of the people who are Italian here, they do one of them DNA tests. You're gonna find out, I got an Italian last name, but I got a Portuguese granddad. Okay. I wasn't expecting that. It's that type of stuff. So because of all of this, because they have mixture just like everybody else, they want to blame everything on, let's just say, the Jewish population. And then you get these non-black people blaming the Jewish population. And then what they do is, you black people, you need to blame the Jewish people too. And it's like, they all white people, bro. Like, if white people did something messed up, it's just all white people. It's like, no, they're different. No, we're not doing this. And I was talking, shout out to Edward Anderson. I was talking to him yesterday. I said, what's funny? Because I was listening to the Tyreek, Myron, Sneeko thing, and it dawned on me. I said, if people like Myron and Sneeko don't like black people that much, they don't say anything when white people don't help them against black people. Like when Sneeko antagonized that dude and got punched in the mouth, white people wasn't like, brother, we got your back. They was like, oh, whoa, you caught them hands. Let me disperse. And the reason why I'm saying this part is because at the end of the day, you see a lot of different groups of people who are so accustomed to blaming us that they never even looked at their own community. Because a lot is going on in all these other communities. Like, nobody has ever put two and two together. I ain't gonna say nobody's ever, but nobody has ever said, if we're gonna say that these rappers are emulating drug dealers, but we have all these movies, whether they true story movies, by the way, of all these white people who were just running drugs all through America. You know what the biggest difference is? They just put a movie score to it. Think about it. Like, if they'll do Snowfall and have, Franklin Saint being the Freeway Rick Ross, and they're gonna put some rap music to it, and people go, oh, the blacks, they're just so violent. But then, they'll have a movie, like The Godfather or Blow, with Tom Cruise, and they just gonna put some like some opera music or a nice little like an Avengers theme to the shit, and then you're gonna go, oh, that's just so wild. Oh, and it's like, bro, these people still living. They're still living. Like, not in the Godfather, but you know, you got people. Oh man, I flew in 70,000 pounds of dope every week, and I became a millionaire. And the government said nothing. It's like, this is our problem. Because the minute that they say that, we get blamed. We get blamed for this. Oh, I got to go somewhere else. And I almost forgot about this. Why I say, white people's problems are self-inflicted, right? The reason I don't want to be disrespectful because my granddad was a vet. The reason a lot of these guys have joined the military is to be patriotic for their country. And they went to other countries because they were soldiers, and they brought their racism with them. They brought their racism to the Middle East. They brought their racism to Asia. They brought their racism to Central and South America. So much so, that they brought their racism to Africa. So much so that Americans in general are looked at with disdain when they go other places, especially white folks, because they go to other people's countries messing with people, hiding under the umbrella of patriotism. American. It's like, okay, this is what we doing, kicking in doors, shooting up families. Some people just having a bloodlust because that was their way to be a serial killer, to go abroad. And then you get in this country, you still have people, who wind up in law enforcement who really are serial killers or bullies. You got people in like firefighters who like, I'll say them, but I won't say them. You got people who work in healthcare. I say them, but I won't say them. And you wind up in this big scenario where, I told this story before. Years back, my dad had a few heart attacks. He had a heart attack and he was in the hospital. He had a heart attack. He died. And I want to say the nurses were like white and Asian. And the doctor was a black Cuban. And he said that when he came to, whenever he came to, the doctor was like, man, I just wasn't going to let you go. I wasn't going to let you go because the nurses, they just backed off like, you know what, let him go, whatever. I'm not doing this. I'm not helping. But I had told my father that previously, like I said, hey man, you can't just be doing too much because you feel like, people can help you because you have a heart problem, you have a heart attack in certain places. You're around a bunch of white folks, they just gonna let you die. They're not really gonna call an ambulance like that. And if they do, they're gonna wait a little bit and to see if you pass away and then call us to make sure you don't make it. And he was like, no. And I understand that, like with certain, I got to talk about that too. With self-inflicting injuries, us as black folks, and I'm gonna get on the baby boomers about this specifically. I don't know what it is about y'all, but a lot of y'all got this old slave Jim Crow mindset that y'all will sell y'all whole family out just on the idea of, I'm gonna show you that there's good white folks out here. I'm gonna do the most. I'm gonna do the most, but I'm gonna show you there's good white folks. Hey man, I don't need them people to know my business. No. You're successful. I'm gonna tell them where you stay and your social security number and how much money you got, because I checked. And I'm gonna show you that there's these good white folks not gonna steal it after they know all your information. It's like, hey, what is your problem? Why? And then something bad happened. I didn't know that these people would do that. It's like, bro, get out of my face. That's what people see when they see, the Congressional Black Caucus running around here. we're a coalition. We're the people, the people, the people, everybody, the people. We're together. We're unity. We're the Rainbow Coalition. So it's time to help black people. Well, you know what I'm saying? Hey, the black people got to help themselves. But you black. You've been helping everybody else but your own. But we're going to show you, man. We're going to come together. Jesus is going to come down. It's like, nah, bro. Nah, bro. You know, a lot of times people think we think about the criminality in our community pulling us down. It's really not. It's really not. Because, and I hate to say it this way, we have too many people, whether they be super religious and pro-black folks that's on the left, or super, conservative right wingers who do the same exact thing. Their job is to not hold white people accountable. Their job is not hold America accountable. Just like when I get clips of not clips, but people go, "Oh man, you need to get over it and let the past go." And it's like, bro, here's the thing. Just when it comes to race, racism, discrimination in America, when you tell me to let something go, that doesn't mean you're not going to stop doing it. That's like a Klans member telling me to let go of racism. When you gonna let go of racism? Well, I just want you to let it go so I can keep doing what I'm doing. No, thank you. No, thank you. So a lot of this stuff to me is just like BS. It's a lot of BS. Because like I was stating earlier in different aspects, America's biggest problem with accountability is it won't point the finger at who the finger is supposed to be pointed to. That's the issue. Like if I'm a bad spender and it's my money and I go broke spending, people gonna say, "Hey man, we told you don't spend all your money." But when the United States is a bad spender, we say, "Oh, that's a good debt. Oh, it's not a bad deal. There's a difference between good debt and there's a difference between bad debt. And owing $35 trillion, that's just good debt." Oh, like what? Oh yeah, you owing hundreds of thousands of dollars on things you can't afford. If you're white, that's just good debt. Like what? But don't nobody like to see their whole paycheck go to everybody but them. Like, what are y'all talking about? Like, okay, this delusional, let's change bad into good is ridiculous. Like I'm gonna say this part, and it cracks me up all the time when I see this. Do you notice white people don't go hard on white people, and Hispanics don't go hard on Hispanics, and Asians don't go hard on Asian criminal, and the Middle Easterners don't go hard on Middle Easterners who are criminals. They don't. They have vast organized crime in their community, and somehow people just don't want to point it out. The only white people I say they get annoyed is Italians, because Italians, when it comes to organized crime, a regular just 9 to 5 working family man, just working guy who's an Italian, they always get the "hey paisan, the mob" thing, and it gets annoying. I've seen plenty of Italians like, "Look, dog, could y'all let this mob stereotype go? Get out of my face, dog. I'm just here doing my job. No, I don't have an Uncle Paulie who been running dope and is, and is a consigliere. I don't have none of that, man. We just working people, man. Everybody else, they get to get off scot-free. And the issue with that is because all of these people get to operate scot-free, they blame us for degeneracy, but they never clean up the degeneracy in their community. That's why we don't really have an issue with sex trafficking and trafficking children and having sex with animals. You get what I'm saying? We don't do that kind of stuff. You're not going to see stories of a black couple who adopted white kids and put them in a cage. You're not going to see that kind of stuff. You're not going to see people, when they made movies like Taken, when a white dude goes to Europe and they kidnap his daughter to sell in the rent. That's not you're not going to see a black version of that. Somebody came from France to the US and some black dude snatched up his daughter and sold her on the black market. You don't see stuff like that. You're not going to see, a middle class serial killer that's a black. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's not how we do stuff. You're not going to see rich black dudes walking around here just, plucking people off like, yeah, whatever. You don't see stuff like that. When they make movies and stuff about that, it's so exaggerated, it's ridiculous. To the point where, man, they had to be out front the whole time. To the point where, and I'll say this in this way. If you took your favorite action movies since you was a child to now, and you made all the characters black, it'll ruin the whole movie. 007 can't be black because he can't walk around inconspicuously destroying stuff like that. The Avengers couldn't be black. Tony Stark being rich and black in America and just destroying stuff, they'd have sued him into oblivion. The Hulk being black, never would have happened. You got to think about that stuff, man. Yeah, the Avengers would have been totally different. If I was about to, RoboCop couldn't have been black. He a black cop that got killed. We gonna bring him back to life as a robot. We ain't gonna spend all that money on that. No, thank you. Like the way America is set up, because Beverly Hills Cop is about to come out in a couple of days, right, on Netflix. But if y'all don't know, Beverly Hills Cop, the original wasn't supposed to be Eddie Murphy. I think it was like John Belushi or something that was supposed to do it, but he didn't do it, or somebody that was more serious. That's the same thing with Bad Boys. Bad Boys wasn't supposed to be Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. It was supposed to be two other comedians, two white comedians. They didn't want to do it. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of this stuff that we see in America is smoke and mirrors. And when I look out in the society and I see everybody pointing their finger at us, but they don't point their finger at their own community, and they let everything that their community do slide, they constantly get worse. Because even when it comes to why I bring up the rap music thing all the time now is because we don't listen to a lot of degenerate rap like that. That's not our thing. We're not out here like just kill him. No. That's young kids. That's youngster stuff. Grown men ain't walking around here, nah. We're not out here playing drill music at 35. No, it's not happening. It's not happening. That's not our get down. So a lot of this stuff that this country doesn't want to take accountability for, because America is a capitalistic society, is going to have to take accountability for it, because when you run out of money, all of a sudden people common sense kick in. But then again, like I said about the brainwashing earlier, a lot of people ain't gonna be able to deal with the fact that they actually had everything they needed to be successful and they blew it, and they won't be able to deal with that. So they're gonna still try to blame us. Case in point, before I go, people like to talk about generational wealth. You should ask the question, why are white people upset about being broke? You should have generational wealth. So that means your parents, your grandparents ran through all the generational wealth, and now Gen Z, the millennials and Gen Z, you out here starting from scratch. Is that our fault? No. I'm gonna tell you the biggest difference, especially with finances. If you're poor and you get a little money, you're not going to have a lot of debt. because you started out poor. But if you start out middle class or upper class, and you start out there, and you keep going down and down and down. If you go from upper class to upper middle class, that's going down. If you go from upper middle class to middle class, that's going down. But your spending habits are still upper class, upper middle class, and upper class. If I owe $5,000 to somebody, it's like, oh man, whew, I gotta pay this fool $5 bands. I don't know, this is gonna take a minute. But that's not like me owing $150,000 to somebody. I can get out of that 5,000. They can't get out of that 150,000. It's a big, big difference. See, sometimes when you subject people to poverty, you forget you want to live in opulence. Opulence, big money go with big bills. And now America can't pay its big bills no more. But I'm gonna get up out of here, man. Y'all tell me what y'all think later. Like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Catch you on the next one. Peace.